Hey YouTube, we're here at a job site in Cleveland, Texas, taking a look at a barn door that a customer's building. It's actually a company called Quad Construction. It's going to be a really cool project. So behind me it's a 50x80x16, and it's got white walls and some black trim. It'll end up being half Barndominium and half, I guess, half and half. Not really. It's going to be half living space and half garage. So a traditional Barndominium, it's going to have 2,000 square foot of living and 2,000 square foot of shop. We'll go ahead and walk on through and take a look at some of the really cool features. Single entry man door. As you walk on through, this right here is a really cool detail. So all of our columns and rafters here are steel, but the customer opted, as opposed to a traditional 20-foot span, they went with 16 foot and some change so that they could center up this door in the living space. And then for this steel to wood connection, they went through and we drilled holes so that we could run this 3/4 inch hardware through, and they bolted that 3/4 inch hardware to our I-beam so that then they have somewhere to go through and nail onto. It's a pretty cool detail. There are a few things that will likely change about this in the future just because of the thermal expansion between the steel and the wood. But this is going to work now, and it will work really well for this customer. But I think in the future we may go through and actually slot those holes to allow for a little bit of thermal management. So this is going to be the main living space. I believe that this is going to be a vaulted ceiling here, taking you all the way up, and then up there above the kitchen, living, dining room is going to be a lofted space. For now, it's just going to be storage, but in the future they have plans on building that out. With the 16-foot eave, on the wall, you'll have about a 5-foot ceiling with your 9-foot interior ceiling, so it will be a little tight. But as you go up with that 3-on-12 pitch, you'll end up with something like 12 foot in the center. So you'll have plenty of room to walk around. If they wanted bedrooms, bathrooms, those kinds of things, it won't be an issue. So as you're walking through the Barndominium, you'll notice it basically has traditional 2x4 interior framing. This is going to be just like a non-load bearing frame on a house. In this case, it is kind of partially load bearing because it does carry the weight of the ceiling above it. The only place where you'll see additional or larger framing is around your bathroom plumbing. So you will see some 2x6 framing, but for the most part, all of your exterior framing is going to be 2x6, and all of your interior walls minus your plumbing are going to be 2x4. Nothing too crazy here. We can walk into the shop. So in this case, the customer opted to have the house framed using a traditional OSB and sheathing, or OSB as sheathing, like you would see in a traditional house. So they're going to go OSB and house wrap. The other thing that you see pretty often is a zip sheathing. So they'll go through and put your zip sheathing and then apply your tape and all your fasteners and your sealant over those fasteners. In this half, they went with just a traditional metal building frame. So you've got your columns and rafters with your girts. They did go through and opt for flush girts to give you a little more interior room. So on our outside of our column here, normally on a bigger building like this, our girts would stick outside of this outside flange. Here it sits flush, about a 1/2 inch proud, but pretty much flush. And then you'll just go through and cut your girts accordingly to allow for you to run that rod X bracing. But this is a nice size shop. It's a 50x40, so it'll end up being 2,000 square feet of shop. What is that in terms of cars? A normal car garage is 220 square foot per. So it'll be like between an 8 and 10 car garage, pretty good size. It's got a 12x14 door on each side as a drive-through. The customer does plan on potentially having an RV in the future. So they'll be able to come straight through the drive-through and just pull their RV straight in and then circle back out when they want to get it out. But the garage portion is pretty much done. It's got just a standard 3-inch vinyl back fiberglass that's compressed between the sheeting and girts. And then the house on the exterior walls will end up with just your traditional R19, I don't know, just traditional fiberglass insulation on that 2x6 wall. What does an outro look like? Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us. This is Texas Steel Buildings. We'll see you next time.